She was neglected, seized up and rotten, but we still gave £1,700 for her. And there's one good reason, because I've always wanted one and I knew I could make it work. So with that, we got it loaded up, shipped back, and here she is. We started work, and this is the story. First things first was getting that block unseized. We didn't know why the engine was seized, or even if it could be unseized. All we knew was it was either a low end bearing failure, a stuck piston, or it was hydraulics. But we had to find out. After removing the cylinder head, we could see that there was no stuck valves, and there was no moisture in the pistons. So what was it? So we filled the cylinders with diesel and left it for a few days covered up. When we came back to it, some cylinders were empty, some weren't. So we siphoned off what was left and began gentle persuasion, namely a block of wood and a hammer. Eventually the engine started to move. First cylinder 1, 2, 3, then 4. She was finally free. Now we had to check the cylinder head for any damage. We were looking for cracks around the valve seats or any damage to the hot plugs. The rule of thumb with hot plugs is that if you can fit your thumbnail in it, you need to get it out and swap it for a new one. But these were all fine, so we left them as they were and began rebuilding the cylinder head. While we had access to them, I cleaned off all the excess carbon around the valves and the valve seats. I reseated the valves and refitted them, before reinstalling the head on the engine. I then serviced the injectors. I stripped them down, cleaned them out and rebuilt them, setting them up to the correct injection pressure. Then running, and while we had access to it, it seemed rude not to take the gearbox out and replace the clutch and pressure plates before reinstalling. But before I could test drive it, I had to get that chassis sorted. It was just too bad to let it go on the road like that. So I started at the front and worked my way back towards the mid-section of the Landrover, putting out the worst sections of the chassis, making new plates and welding them in. This was pretty much a rinse and repeat process throughout the chassis, so spare you the boredom and we'll crack on. The original engine was a 2¼ litre diesel, naturally aspirated. After all the adjustments, we made advancements to the fuel injection pump. It lowered the smoke levels, but the speed didn't really match it. The acceleration is what we're after, but we didn't get it. So roundabout now is probably a good idea to tell you. We didn't keep the engine. It was just too slow at acceleration, and modern day traffic, it was just ridiculous. Cars were up your backside screaming at you. We decided to upgrade. This is the original 2¼ diesel engine. As you can see, there's no turbocharger on it, it's just a naturally aspirated. Naturally aspirated means it just conducts air on itself, no forced air on it such as a turbo. You've got your diesel injection pump and your lift pump, and that's standard throughout. So the 19J we've actually fitted still has both of these, with the addition of a turbo and an extra ¼ litre. This vehicle was built by Landrover in Solihull in 1964 for the British Army. It saw out its military service as an FFR or fitted for radio vehicle. Apart from the twin tanks and the bolt holes for the antenna brackets on the rear tub, all of its military markings had been removed by previous owners. When I bought it, it was every different kind of green you can imagine. And with its history, of course I'm going to paint it NATO green. She was unbelievably slow, even for a 2¼ naturally aspirated diesel from the 1960s. She had a top end of 76 or thereabout, with an acceleration of 0 to 60 in about 3 lifetimes. It wasn't quick, so something had to be done. And that's us all caught up on the 88. If you like this and you want to see more, join us next time, where you'll see the work as it happens. We have massive plans for this vehicle, and we'd love for you to join us. So please like, comment and subscribe if you are interested. See you in the next one. We got her strapped up and trawled back. No, for f***'s sake.